Okay, we're going to get started. Good morning. How are you guys doing? Grab your coffee, grab a seat. Welcome to another edition of 1 Million Cups. Hey, we have a new face up here that I'm happy to introduce to you, Britton Kovac, who is, you may recognize her, she's involved in the Startup Village and a few other things. So we'd like to welcome Britton to the team. My name's Brian Azorski. I'm here with Milton and Courtney as well, and Lance will be here shortly. I'd like to let you know a little bit about 1 Million Cups. If this is your first time, raise your hand. Great to have you. So we do 2 presentations. Each one's about 6 minutes, and then we do a Q&A. And 2 of us will run around with mics. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll come find you so you can be on the mic. And we also have 2 panelists here today. And Kevin and Grant, could you guys stand up and give us a quick introduction?
Sure, I'm Kevin Fryer, founder and managing director of SparkLab KC, which is a business accelerator located downtown. I also have a couple of software companies that does financial reporting. And Brian, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
My name is Grant Gooding. I'm the founder and CEO of Proof Positioning. Most people know Courtney, who was our exceedingly talented CFO, who somehow finds time to do this every week. Our company helps entrepreneurs take the guesswork out of figuring out how to differentiate themselves from their competitors. My background is in mergers and acquisitions. I'm also an expert in business valuations, and my area of expertise specifically is in brand and market positioning and fair market value transition.
Thank you, Grant. Okay, so we are ready to get started. I'd like to introduce Carol from Vogue Party. Come on up, Carol. Let's get right into it.
Hello, I'm Carol Bliss. I'm a photographer, and I have come up with a new business venture with Vogue Parties for women. I've been offering it for about 3 years now, and it's been a huge success for me. And the whole concept of it is giving women, everyday women, the opportunity to get some glamorous pictures taken of themselves. And we call it Vogue because it's just that, it's glamorous. And I guess our main goal is to showcase the beauty of women everywhere. We think women that are in our local area have enjoyed our parties, and we want to take it to a national level. So I'm going to go through my slides, and I do have a video that will be coming up soon that'll kind of show you what the party looks like. It's kind of like a girls' night out at my studio. They come, and we personalize the Vogue parties for the women, and we pamper them, we style them, and then we photograph them. And then our vision is to make Vogue photography accessible everywhere. That's the ultimate goal. But I'm going to show the video. It kind of shows a party that I gave a few years back, and then after that, we'll talk a little bit more about the details.
H.G. Wells said, "Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder." I've heard that before. Dante Alighieri said, "Beauty awakens the soul to act." Now that's interesting. Have you heard about this thing called the Vogue Party? Yeah, Vogue. What is it? Lightning in a bottle. The transformation from beautiful to incredible. It's a girls' night out you'll never forget. It's seeing yourself in a new way. The Vogue way. The Vogue Party is the party that everyone wants to be a part of. When you see the results, you'll see what I mean. It's your chance to feel like a model and look like one too. You may want to get an agent after this. You'll spend an evening with friends, dressing up, putting on makeup, and getting your own photo session with a professional photographer. Half of the fun is in the anticipation.
I saw Tracy's pictures and they looked awesome, and I'm like, I wanted to do it. Something girly, something I never do.
I've seen the website, it looked really fun, and I thought it's something different, probably something that I wouldn't normally do.
I've seen pictures like on Facebook, but I haven't ever been to one or seen what it's like.
We're all gonna have some fun and get a lot of fun photos.
I'm excited just to step out of my comfort zone and have a good time.
It's gonna be my new profile pic.
I wanted to do something different. So as soon as I saw it, I didn't think about it twice, but I was just excited to do something, like I said, really girly.
I'm gonna be surprised, I guess.
It's gonna be a blast.
Okay, so that's kind of a sample of what a party looks like. When I first started, we did them in the home, but now I hold the parties at the studio. This is kind of the look of my branding when I first started and how the party was structured. We would get a hostess. They would call in and they would want to book a party, and then they would invite their friends, and then we will contact the guest through our constant contact, which is an invitation over here. And we include some of the images from the hostess. She gets to come in and do a private session before the party. And we use those images on the invites so that when they go out to their friends, they see the pictures of their friend, and that usually entices them to come to the call and RSVP. Can you hear me? Yeah. They'll call me, RSVP. They pay a $25 registration fee for the party. And then if they want their makeup done by our professional artists, they pay $25 for that. And then the night of the party, everybody shows up, we glam them up, we style them, take their picture, and then at the end of the party, we show all of the images on the screen. Everybody gets to see all the pictures at the same time, and that's probably the most exciting part of the evening. And then afterwards, everybody gets to purchase their pictures. And we usually sell just digital files. They're $25 a picture. And the more they buy, the more of a discount they get. So that's kind of how it started, and that's how it began. It was kind of just a lot of different avenues we were using to get the hostess and to invite the guest. So I'm trying to get it streamlined, and with the help of Tom and Lynn Morse Brown, they've helped me with a new logo. I've got a new website, and we've kind of changed the rules of the party a little bit. We now have where people will pay for the party prior to coming to the party. So it's $199 for the guests to come to the party, get their makeup done. We, again, style them, take their pictures, and then they go home that night with a disc of all their images, and they're retouched. And they own the images, and they can reproduce them or do whatever with them. So my ultimate goal is I want to try to take this national. I want to train photographers in other cities to offer Vogue parties in their areas. I've set a couple of goals here for that. By April 1st, I want to be able to launch my website, which that blue box represents. I want to be able to automate the whole process for the other photographers in other cities to offer these parties, because the party itself's quite lengthy with the retouching, because right now I do all the retouching. I take the picture, I go to my computer, I have it automated, I retouch the images. It's a very long party. So that was my goal, is to automate it so that when the photographers in other cities offer it, all the retouching will go through my website, and all they have to do is upload the images after they shoot the first girl at the party. The images get uploaded to the main website, they get retouched, and by the time they get back to the computer, the images are already retouched. So that's my first phase. I want to be able to build that website to do that process only. And then by phase 2, which is later in the year, I want everything to go through the website. If a girl wants to go to a party, they go to thevogueparty.com, they register for the party, they pay for it. All the revenue flows through there, and the retouching of the images. And then when the girls, at the end of the party, they would just go to the website, download the images, and we're not burning them on disk anymore. So there's like 3 people that are important to the whole process. You got your hostess. She's the one that initiates the party. She gets all the benefits. She gets a free session. And then we use those images to create the invitation. And then she has a fun party for her friends. And then the guests, they will receive the makeup, the styling, a 10-minute photo shoot, and a disc of all their images, which usually is about 20, 25 images. And then for me to get the photographers in other cities to offer this, they would contract through me. They would create their own business in their area. I will offer them free marketing and the administration part of it. And then all the images are processed through the website. All the money is processed through there. And they will recruit their own makeup artists and stylists. And then I will just take a small percentage of their party for offering that to them.
Carol.
Yes.
Can
In
we-
my 6 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
you did it.
Okay. And that's, I'm at the end.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you very much. All right, let's get started with our panel. Kevin?
You talk about going nationwide. So when you're going to another city, what are the metrics that you're using to explain your business to a potential photographer and partner? And it sounds to me like this is labor intensive. So if you can kind of explain maybe what your gross margin looks like.
Well, I hope to attract other photographers by not physically traveling to them. I'm going to do that through the internet. I have access to several photography associations where I can get names, and my goal is to blast out emails, follow up with phone calls. Hey, I have a great way to add a revenue stream to your studio. Vogue is a great, with photography, we're very seasonal. We have good months and then it's slow, and Vogue's a great fit. It fits into all those slow months. So I will be approaching them through email and phone calls. I will not be traveling to each one. But then if they're interested, they're going to come to me, and I'm going to have a training program where I'm going to teach them how to shoot, the lighting, marketing, the whole shebang. My margin? Well, it's just my time. I have, at the party, I'm not selling like any tangible product. There's nothing there. It's my cost of spending time with shooting. And then I do have a couple of employees that help me at the party. And then the makeup artist, she makes her cut. Of the $199 they pay, the makeup artist will make anywhere from $35 to $40 from that. So, and the rest is just, it's just gravy. It's just, because it's just paying for me, my time, and then mainly the makeup artist.
So I think what Kevin wants to see is tell me how much money you make off of one event. Because
Off a party?
Yeah.
Well, my most successful party was actually the one that I videotaped. There were 7 women there. At that time, I was offering, I was selling the pictures individually for $25 an image. They were low resolution. They had my logo. They weren't meant for reprinting. And then I had a show special. Buy all your images for $250. And then everybody that night bought all of their images. So
So how much money did you make from the party?
it was $1,000.
Okay, so a decent night, right? If you're trying to license this to someone after your expenses, you made $1,000. Okay, so that's a good start. Part of what I'm a little bit confused about is you spend a lot of time talking about sort of the technological infrastructure that you want to build. My head's not totally wrapped around the because you talked about two different ways that you're going to monetize, and that was sort of confusing. What I do get, and I think part of the challenge really is like this is sort of like Glamour Shots meets Pampered Chef.
Yes.
Is that far off?
No, that's that's good.
Okay, so you can have that. I'm just kidding. But that inherently comes with its advantages and disadvantages, right? If you describe yourself that way, because people have preconceptions about Glamour Shots and they have preconceptions about Pampered Chef, right? So part of your struggle is really defining what this is inside of the marketplace, and then also part of that is, I think that was kind of confusing is like in your video, I saw a girl that looked like she was probably 18 or 19, and then a woman that was probably in her 60s.
Right.
So like, who is your target market specifically too? Because it can't just be women.
It's basically women.
It can't be women.
It can't? Dang.
Yeah.
Really? Well, I mean, I have that. I've had women that were 70 come to the parties, and then I have people like that party, they brought their daughter. But just women just like to get made up, and they
So the reason it can't be women is because it's way, way too broad, right? You have to define what is the motivating factor, what is the value proposition in the marketplace that's going to allow, that allows you to tell a compelling story to someone that you can kind of handpick, right? Is it the mom, and the mom just happens to bring the daughter along for fun? Or is the daughter dragging the mom in, right? But the value proposition you're going to give to those two people are completely polar opposite, right? So that's why it can't just be all women, right? So
I
we
know
need
what
to
you're
define
saying.
that, define who that is, and then that will help you define how you talk about this concept in the marketplace, which I still is confusing, which will then lead you to being able to define what the monetization strategy is so that you can answer Kevin's question really, really quickly and decisively. Make sense?
His previous question, you're saying if I had that, I would be able to answer that quicker.
Because you're not going to be able to convince photographers to go out and do this unless you give them exactly what Kevin wants. Because they're like, sure, there's a concept, I get it, I get my head wrapped around it, how much money am I going to make? How much money, what are my costs? And so like a breakdown would have been really nice to see, this is how much I charge, this is my overhead, right? This is just kind of like a little mini P&L so that you can sell it. Because I really think you might have something here, to be completely transparent, you might have something here, but it's not nearly defined enough, in my opinion.
Right. And again, it's that work in progress. I've been doing it for 3 years. It's evolved. I've changed the rules and tweaked it here and there. And of the 60-some parties I've given, I kind of now know who the women are that like the parties. And I know not every woman's going to want to be photographed like this. I know that. I've met them. But the women that have come have just loved it. It's just been such a hit, and it's so uplifting. It's a win-win. They just feel so good about themselves. And now they have their pictures on Facebook for their profile pictures, and the comments they receive from their friends and family, oh my God, you look great, and it's so uplifting. It's just a positive thing. There's nothing more to it than that. So to me, I look at the photographers in the other cities that are like my studio where, again, I'm seasonal, I need some extra income. How am I going to get some income during my slow months? I mean, this is a perfect way. To me, it's not that hard of a sell to the other photographers. It's kind of, hey, here's a great revenue stream. Let me help you. I've been doing it for 3 years. I've tested it. I'm going to do all your retouching, I'm going to do all your advertising, I'm going to make it so simple for you to have these parties. All you got to do is have the girls show up, take the pictures, and make the money.
Okay, we're going to open it up to the audience for questions. Courtney.
Question here in the center. Interesting concept. I have a couple of questions that I think go together. The first is, it seems like you make about 20% from what I saw on one of your slides from the total revenue from the party. So what are your costs in for each party? You talk about this retouching. Is that automated, or do you have people sitting? So if you can talk a little bit about how you have to expend some of your resources, and so what your net might be from the $200. The second part is, if you talk to photographers about this, what's going to keep them from saying, I'll just create my own concept and go with it?
Okay, first, the 20% you saw, that was for when the photographers in other cities offer the party. That's what I make off of their party. Right now, when I host a party, I'm doing the parties. I'm retouching the images. I'm doing all of it, and I make all of the money from the party. So if I bring in $1,000 that night from the revenue from the party, that's my money. I don't share it with anyone. Although my makeup artist gets her cut for that. So what was your other question? And then you said?
So because you're talking about expanding this to a larger network than just yourself, how much profit are you actually making from the remotely held parties? If the gross revenue is around $1,000 and you make $200, how much expense do you have in being able to support this network? And that's why I asked the question about who's doing the retouching. Are you paying people to do this? Is this an automated process?
And that's with the big website that I'm going to have built. That's my hub. That's where everything's going to flow through this website. It's like a global site. It's where they upload the pictures at the party to get them retouched. So the photographer at that party is not having to retouch the images. They're uploaded to the computer, they retouch it, and it sends it back to their computer. So by the end of the evening, if there's 5 girls that he has photographed at the party, all of the images are all retouched. He gets to show them as a slideshow, and there's just, the cost would be, there's really no cost for running it through the website to retouch the images. I just think the margins are they're really good on it because we're not selling a product. I'm not building anything. It's just a digital image that this person is buying. And they get that image by going to the website and downloading their pictures after they pay for them. Have I answered that? Or are you clear? No. You're getting closer?
Got a question to your right.
I concurred with what the panelists said about Pampered Chef meeting glamour shots, but I would say it's more like Mary Kay meeting glamour shots. And I was wondering if you'd considered some sort of a partnering arrangement with somebody like Mary Kay, because what you really are doing is benefiting the photographers, individual photographers or groups, and benefiting people that do makeup, basically, and hairstyling. So,
well, my ultimate goal would be, I would love to sell the business at some point to a makeup company or a jewelry company, because the makeup and the jewelry are big parts of the party. But right now it works where the photographer hires a makeup artist to come in and they do the makeup at the party. Yes, that would be something for the future, but right now I'm keeping it within each studio. Each photographer is going to have a piece of it.
somebody of that nature would very likely be wanting to do a promotional of some sort that would leverage you, is what I was thinking.
Like Mary Kay? Yeah, I'm hoping that this website that I build is a great, hub for women to go to and look at their pictures and send their family and friends to the site. Look at my pictures, and if I can get a lot of traffic through the site, maybe I can get the makeup companies to advertise on my site and get them involved somehow.
Question here in the center.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm also a photographer, and I have been for a little while, but my question is, my style is very different from yours. How would you sell me to use this Vogue party, even though I have a very different photography style than you do?
Well, that's what makes the picture universal. It's very consistent. It's a consistent look. So that, if you were to have parties, those images are going to be retouched the way I have created that Vogue look. So, and if it's something you don't believe in, or if it's like a look you just don't really care for, then it may not be for you. But, they're retouched and they are glamorous, and I find that women like it. I haven't had anyone say, oh my gosh, way too retouched or whatever. People are very pleased with the end result. So it would be up to each photographer to decide, yeah, that's not for me,
Question in the center.
Great presentation. Thanks for taking the time. My question is about the hostess selection or vetting process. So imagine this scenario. A hostess signs up through the website. They want to throw a party, and you do sort of their own pre-package. That's part of the promotional material. And then the actual party is scheduled and one person shows up. I got to believe that with only one person at a party, the effort that's involved and the time that's involved, and you could even say the opportunity cost for the photographer to go through all that, they're not going to make any money if one person shows up. So how about two? If two people show up, is that a profitable party? At what point, how many people need to come to a party in order for that party to be a worthwhile endeavor for the photographer? Second question connected with that is, how likely is it that a hostess who signs up is going to be able to attract enough people? And do you have any kind of a process for vetting a particular hostess to say, do they have a large enough social network where they can ask enough people to then draw enough people to the party so that it is, on an ongoing basis, that worthwhile endeavor for the photographer?
Okay. Well, we do have a minimum. You have to have at least 5 women come to your party. If a week prior to the party date, that's the deadline RSVP date. If she doesn't have 5, that's when I contact her and say, look, we need to reschedule your party. It's not going to happen. And they can have no more than 10. So between 5 and 10 people have to show up. And at that point, at 5, you're making good money. You're already, that's $1,000 right there. So yeah. And then the second part of your question was, oh, the hostesses. Well, I mean, that's just you and your friends. That's never been an issue. When the hostesses that call in and say, oh my gosh, I want to have this party with my group of friends, that's never been an issue up to this point, because it's just that. It's your neighbor lady friends, or if they belong to a book club, it's that group of friends. It's just whatever group of friends they have that they will invite to the party. So there's plenty of women that want.
One final question for you.
Yes.
What can we as a community do to help you?
Well, it's just my first time to speak about it. I just, if you would spread the word, like us on Facebook, follow our work. And if you want to host or know somebody that would like to host a party, or you want to host one, and I'm also looking for photographers to kind of get this going. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Okay.
Good morning. We have a couple of announcements that are on our announcement sheet. I do want to give a shout out to Think Big. They're having a grand opening for their co-working space tomorrow night. So there's details on here. You can go online, sign up, go check it out. It's a pretty cool space downtown, right in front of where the streetcar is going to be. Also, we have an ECJC event after the pitch, preparing for due diligence. They're doing a lunch and learn tomorrow as well. So if you guys have any events that are going on, please send them to Brian Azorski. We'd love to get him on here and kind of get some live events going. So without further ado, okay, I would like to welcome Kayvon Alomi with Whiteboard. He's going to tell us basically how to manage our to-do list.
Hey, we can get this working here. Do I sing? Do I need to sing? I don't do jokes. All right, well, good morning, everybody. My name's Kayvon Alomi, and I'm one of the founders of Whiteboard. And this morning, I'm just going to start off by briefly discussing who we are. So we're a small team out of Tulsa, Oklahoma that's really passionate on disrupting workplace technologies. So when my business partner and I started this endeavor, we not only shared the same passions, but we also shared the same pain points when it came to the technologies we use in our everyday work life. So we wanted to start by tackling the foundation of our day. And what I mean by that is every morning that we wake up, we set off to accomplish a task and to do something. So what I'm here to present to you today is a task and project management application. And I know there's probably a handful of you out there probably thinking, oh, another task and project management application? Are these guys crazy? Well, we're not just any task and project management application, and no, we're not crazy. And that's what I'm here to share with you today. First, I want to give you guys a viewpoint of what we saw with the current technologies and landscape and what we didn't think was suiting our needs. First, I want to talk about the overall user experience and interfaces of products out there today. Over the past few years, we've really experienced this evolution with mobile technologies. And in doing so, an emphasis has really been put on the importance of the interface and simplicity of the applications that are launched. And in our space, a lot of the technologies that we use today were designed and developed before the mobile revolution. So what they had to do is go and take their web applications and cram them into a mobile solution, which left us as the consumers with basically a crippled version of their web app that not only didn't work and suit our needs, but we had to learn two different interfaces for the same application. And it just wasn't really working great with the workflow of our day. The next thing I want to talk about is just the amount of noise that we're being presented with when you log into these solutions. Not only are you being presented with the tasks that are assigned to other individuals on your team, but also the tasks that you plan on getting done in a week from now or maybe a month from now. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I'm presented with the big picture, I get overwhelmed. And when I get overwhelmed, I tend to be less productive in my day than what I'm capable of doing. In my day, I've noticed I was using two applications to manage my one day. I was using a task and project management application with my clients and colleagues at work to manage the projects, and I had a personal to-do application to manage my personal needs at home. So I was using two products to meet my one day. And what that left me with was a really inefficient, ineffective way of managing my day. Things were getting overlooked, falling through the cracks, and the very applications that were supposed to help me with the productivity of my day were hurting me more than helping me. So in the end, some of the key points and conclusions we came to is that we didn't have a singular app to really help us focus on the tasks that mattered most in our day. We had the inability of really managing both our personal and professional needs, and the overall user experience and interface of the products today weren't suiting our needs. So just like every other team out there that we've met, we were jumping from solution to solution, trying to find the one that fit our day the best. And that's why I'm here today to present to you Whiteboard. And what Whiteboard is a task and project management application that helps you focus on the tasks that matter most to you in your day. So since I have a limited amount of time here, I'm only going to talk about a few of the things that really sets Whiteboard apart from others in our space. First, I want to talk about our user experience and interface. When you first log into Whiteboard, one of the first things you're going to notice is how beautiful our design and overall experience is. When we started designing Whiteboard, we started with the device with the most constraint when it came to real estate, that being your smartphone. And from there, we transitioned to larger screens, such as your desktop monitor or your laptop screen. And what that enabled us to do is keep the continuity and consistency between all your devices. So you're only having to learn one user interface and one experience for one application. And not only does it make it easy to use and adopt, but it's a pleasure to use. So in Whiteboard, you live within workspaces, whether that be a team or a small group of individuals. And one of the views in your workspace is your Me View. And within your Me View, it's a consolidation of all the tasks that are assigned to you. So no longer are you having to sift through and sort through all the tasks that finds the ones that are most relevant to you. But we took it up another level, and we broke down your to-dos into 3 areas: later, today, and done. And the later area, those are all the to-dos that are assigned to you that you haven't designated that you want to work on today. And those to-dos are found in your today view. So your today view is very much a precise list of the tasks and to-dos that you want to accomplish and focus on today. So no more are you having this endless battle of the never-ending to-do list that I've always had. You can focus on the tasks you want to get them done, and feel accomplished in your day. And of course, if you want to relish in the things that you've gotten done, you can go to your Done tab and view those. And one of the things that we wanted to do with Whiteboard is bridge the gap between your personal and professional needs. So not only can you create workspaces in the team environment for the needs that you're working on with your clients and colleagues, but you have the ability to create workspaces that are personal and private, that no one has access to. So we just got done talking about the Me view, which it lives within a workspace that consolidates all your to-dos. We also have another Me view, and it's your global Me view. And what that does is it not only consolidates all the to-dos in one workspace, but it consolidates all your to-dos from across all your workspaces, both personal and professional. So now we have a unified app to manage my whole day in one application. And of course, we have all the core features one would expect from a great task and project management application. But the one I want to really highlight most is how fast our applications are. We're really excited about the innovation and the breakthrough we've made to make our applications fast. When you log into our web app, it feels like you're logging into a native desktop application, all from within a web browser. It's amazing. And what's a great experience without phenomenal support? So at Whiteboard, we understand that half of the experience is providing you with a piece of technology that you love using day in and day out, and the other half is providing you with exceptional support. So no matter what time of the day, you can tweet us, you can email us, and as long as one of us is up, because we are human, we have to sleep, we will respond to you and meet your needs of what you're looking for. So I think we're running out of time here, so I want to thank you guys for the opportunity of coming up and presenting Whiteboard with you guys, and we're really excited and eager to get it in everyone's hands.
So you've been traveling around to various 1 million cup cities, giving your presentation, et cetera, correct? Is this the same presentation you've used in each city?
Yeah. So it's the whole 6-minute thing. When I first designed the presentation and ran through, it was like 14 minutes long. I was like, oh, man. So cutting it back, it's the same.
Okay, so a quick observation. You got a typo on like the second slide.
Thanks.
And I'm serious. When you're giving a presentation, if somebody sees a typo in there, they're lost for the rest of the presentation. Yeah. So you might want to clean that up. It said laundry instead of laundry. Second thing is, how many customers do you have? What's your distribution model? How you getting it out there? And I'll go back to kind of one of Grant's areas. What's your target demographic look like, and how are you going to get them?
Okay, so I'll start with the target demographic. So in terms of the adoption lifecycle of technology, we're very much targeting early adopters. So working professionals between the age of 25 and 35, primarily in design, interactive, and technology. That's our target focus and where we're having the least path of resistance. Right now we're in limited preview, so we haven't done our big official launch and started monetizing it yet. So some distribution channels that we're really leveraging is opportunities like this. We've been picked up by some media outlets, some blogs have mentioned us, been featured on Product Hunt, and avenues like that. We're really not in the full court press yet in terms of getting the word out there. And the reason being is that we don't want all the eyes on us yet. We want to get it in batches, get feedback, critique, and edit and polish, and get it to where the product adds enough value in everyone's day that they're willing to pay for. And in terms of users, that's not any information that we're disclosing at the moment.
So, interestingly enough, I did think, oh great, another task management app. This space is really crammed, right?
Correct.
There's a lot of money in it, and there are humongous players that you're going against. And so I'm looking for, what is your competitive advantage?
So the number one thing, and I'll tell you the competitive advantage, is that I'm not looking to being first to market. I'm looking at being last to market. So Google wasn't the first search engine around. They were the last, because they did it right. Facebook wasn't the first social network around. They were the last big one because they did it right. I feel like the market's really saturated and competitive because it's like a suit for men or a pair of jeans for women. You can try them on and they can fit, but does it fit right? So teams such as ourselves are constantly jumping from product to product. Thus, there's a vast market of players in the space. The biggest differentiating factor for us, first and foremost, is our design. And this, the intuitiveness, the ease of adoption, and ease of use, and then the Me View. Those are the things we hear resonating the most with the people that are using our product today. And then we have some feature sets that are coming on down the road, which we haven't announced yet, but it's going to be really exciting.
So while I appreciate that perspective, when you say Google did it right, Facebook did it right, what's right? Right? They figured out what right is, and they defined it, and they did it objectively.
Correct. But
what is right here?
I think what we're starting is a start of a long journey and process. Just like those other services that I mentioned, they necessarily didn't have it perfect and right out of the gate, but they're on the trajectory of making it right. So one of the things, like when we were featured on Product Hunt, we were the most clicked on product, and every single person that was emailing us saying, this is going to be an X killer, this is going to be a Y killer. And one of the things that's really holding us back personally right now is our feature set. So we're a self-funded startup. So we're .co, not .com, because I couldn't afford the M. And as time progresses, we're going to implement more features that will meet the needs of these guys that are just holding them back.
So I might want to challenge you to think a little bit differently because people don't buy features, they buy concepts.
Right.
And so I don't think your feature set necessarily is your, I mean, look at Google, right? Their feature set was one thing.
Yeah.
Right? And so I can't sum up what Whiteboard is and how it's different in one sentence.
So Whiteboard lets you focus on the tasks that matter most in your day. So it was a three-part equation that I really highlighted and emphasized, but one of the things that really differentiates us more than anybody is our Me View and being able to focus on the tasks that matter most in your day. So something that I didn't mention, I actually read the tweet that you tweeted. I didn't talk much about the features like our swiping gestures, because we have like the mailbox-esque gestures where you can push tasks off to later and designate when you want them to populate in your today view, so you can kind of set it and forget it. And like for example, what Mailbox aims to eliminate is inbox zero, right? To get to that infamous inbox zero. The battle that we want to help people overcome is the never-ending to-do list. And because when people have that to-do list that you're always scratching off and you're segmented all over the place, you don't have a sense of accomplishment in your day. So your level of productivity is lower. And that's one of our biggest differentiating factors is the Me View.
You should call this Me View.
I'll consider it. I'll let the team know.
The other comment I make is one, I have a monetization question as well. I understand how you plan to monetize this.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to be, because, and there's certain things I couldn't get access to because I'm an Android user.
It's coming.
So I want to understand how you're going to monetize, right? How you plan on doing that. If you have like strategic elements to how you're going to do that rather than just kind of flat base fees and things like that. And then the other thing is, how do you plan on, because one of the challenges of coming into a saturated market is you have to be able to change behavior. How are you going to get me to stop using my current task management system? Right? You have to give me a compelling argument or convince me to come over and at least try. And how do you plan to do that?
So one of the things you don't want to do in technology is try to change someone's behavior. So, and I'll use an example like I want to lose weight and get in shape. And I go and download a fitness app. And they want me to start tracking my nutrition and start tracking what I work out. The first week I'm gung-ho, but it doesn't fit in my everyday behavior of how I operate. So I'm going to ditch it in a week. I'm going to ditch it in 2 weeks. And that's with technology, you don't want to change people's ways of how they do things every day. You want to do it incrementally over a long span. So initially, we want to make Whiteboard to where it's comfortable for you and fits in your everyday behavior and incentivize and push you towards the directions that we're wanting you to go, not force them upon you. When it comes to monetization, it's always going to be free for personal use. And then we'll monetize whenever you start collaborating in a team environment. So this sets the bar low for us to get early adopters on by the droves for personal use, get them comfortable, get them familiar with the app, which incentivizes them more to get in the team environment. But that's our monetization model. Free for personal, affordable for team. And it's going to be on a per user seat basis.
We'd like to open up some questions to the audience. There's one in the back.
Got a couple of questions back here.
I guess I have two. First one is, you mentioned web-based. Is it also going to be an app that's downloadable? And if so, I checked the Play Store on Android, and there's over 100 apps that have Whiteboard in it. So how are you going to kind of get over that issue? And the second question is, early adopters. I come from a world where something like this is very important. I collaborate, I have clients, I have 50 different to-dos every day. I use an enterprise system that actually links my email, my CRM, my task all together. How would this compete against that in the enterprise world, or are you not trying to compete against the big enterprise options?
So first part, web-based, do we have an app? Yes, we have an iPhone app, and it's in the App Store. Android's coming soon. Like I was alluding to this gentleman here, we're a self-funded startup, so Android's going to be a couple months down the road. So that's why we're in limited preview right now, and it's free to everybody that uses it. We have an App Store optimization strategy that we just haven't implemented yet, because it tends to get aggressive. And one of the best ways, Whiteboard is a really common keyword to have. It's just rising through the ranks in the App Store. I know in the Apple App Store, we're starting to finally start gaining some traction. It's all based upon reviews, downloads, and searching. The other part, enterprise. We're not competing in the enterprise space. A lot of bureaucracy, and it's a hard sell. So right now, we're really focused on the small teams. So like I said, target market, working professionals between 25 and 35 years old that work in like startups, small teams, so like development firms, design firms, PR agencies, teams probably about 10 individuals and smaller is what we're targeting. And a lot of those guys can't afford the full-fledged enterprise systems where they can implement and integrate all their custom solutions. But we do plan on implementing some integrations that will work friendly with the biggest CRMs and communication tools like Slack and stuff out there.
Got another question for you here.
So I guess, this is a follow-up to the last question. Part of your pitch is that, you have, at your work or whatever, you have your own projects and you have your personal projects and you're going to integrate them, but you don't have an integration solution. Your solution is adopt our system and go away from whatever your work's using. Is that correct?
Preferably, yeah. Yeah, it'd be great to have your team at work adopt Whiteboard. Right.
Question on your right.
Hi, so my question is kind of on your collaboration piece here. So you say I can use it to make my own task, and I can use it as my team. As a team leader, can I push tasks to my team members?
Correct, yeah. So I really didn't dig too much into the feature sets, but you can delegate tasks. You can assign tasks to other individuals. You can assign due dates, the dates you want it to appear in like your today view. You can have attachments. So you can attach everything from photos, files, to even a location if you want.
And the second part of that is, so I can push tasks to my team members, and you said it's based on, pay for my team. Mm-hmm. If I'm working with another company where they're not a member of my team, but I'm working with another company, can I push tasks to a different user set, even though they're not part of, say my paid user group?
So in Whiteboard, when you start collaborating, you're in a team, and workspaces live within the team. So that's its own environment. So in order to collaborate with them in their environment, you have to be within their team on a workspace.
There's a question in the center. Hold on just a second.
Thank you for spending the time. I have a two-part question. So if you're moving over to Whiteboard, do you have an integration software to download the to-do list and things that people already existingly have? Or do I have to sit there and rekey all of my to-do list into your app? And what's your objection to overcome having to do that exercise?
So we are working on a tool so you can export and import. I know a lot of our biggest competitors out there allow you to export. Just the thing is just the formatting, what they exactly let you export, but we don't have an import tool right now. We've just started rolling out our limited preview back in December, so we're still green, we're still young, but that is coming.
Okay, and then also, since you guys live in the Apple world, as an Android user, and this is a tech headache I've been fighting a lot like what you've been doing, I also have an S-Watch Gear 2, and my task manager only lives on my phone and not necessarily on my watch. So I'm having to manage now a third app to do all of that and then integrate back into the mobile desktop world. So are you guys planning to support wearable tech for that aspect also?
Yeah, you better believe it. Mhm.
Okay.
Android first, though.
Okay,
A
so
native
first the
Android app.
phone and then mobile devices after that are the wearable?
Wearable devices, yep.
Okay.
Got a question in the back here?
Yeah, so how big is the market exactly? Like how many potential users do you see? How much of that do you want to capture?
I want to capture as much as I can get. I mean, in size of the market, it's honestly, it's amazing to see the amount of growth this market's been seeing over the past couple years. Our biggest competitor has 9 million daily active users. We're in a unique space because we're kind of catering, we're not focused on both, but we're kind of catering to both elements, the personal individual to-do user, as well as the professional and team environment user. But I think at this point, some rough estimates, there's like around 20 million users in the space.
Question in the center.
I noticed that you also call it project management, and that can mean a lot of different things to different people. So to simplify my question, let me ask, is your product able to identify the critical path in a project?
So like milestones and whatnot? Not at this moment, no. So we're real minimal and simplistic, and we want to let our user base adopt and apply the technology as they want to. One of the things that we're going to steer clear from is becoming this really big, robust feature set where it's overwhelming. Like, and that's one of the biggest focuses that we had when we were designing Whiteboard, is keeping it simple, keeping it to the bare bones of what really matters most. And our motto is actually do what matters. So like Gantt charts and planning and stuff, that will never be a part of Whiteboard. But we're going to open up our API eventually and be able to integrate with technologies that do that.
Question in the front.
So if your key distinctive is minimizing the amount of tasks you've got on your task list, and I like that because it reminded me of Zero Inbox. When I heard about Zero Inbox, it immediately made sense. So why did you call it Whiteboard?
So the Whiteboard is actually a really long story. This has been an ongoing endeavor for some time. But the reason why we did Whiteboard is because a lot of our collaboration and my to-do list lives on my whiteboard. When you start brainstorming and getting things done and collaborating with others, you're whiteboarding it. So we called it Whiteboard.
Got a question here to your right?
Yeah.
My question's more about your presentation than really your product.
Yeah.
When I come to events like this, and I've been coming for a couple of years, the people that capture me jump to the product right out of the gate. I really am not moved by people reading their slideshow to me and getting 4 minutes into the presentation before I ever see anything.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a plan to change that, first off? And then secondly, to piggyback on his, Whiteboard to me, along with VogueParty.com, you don't have those domains. So why not go after a little more creative name that isn't so used?
What do you mean by domains, like the actual URL?
Yeah, the URL. I mean, for me, that's going to be one of the first places I go. I'm not maybe an early adopter of things, but I am a company with employees that I'm going to start pushing stuff out to. And that things like Whiteboard's not going to capture my attention. When you first said it, it made me think of my kids' high school, because there's a very similar program that they use in high school that you hear a lot about. So I just think it's an incredibly crowded space. And when you gave me your presentation, you really didn't differentiate that for me very quickly. So if I were going to give you a piece of advice, and I know that's not really a question, get to the app. Show me the app. That's what's going to sell it. And I really never saw the app even in your presentation. So now you've sold me on something that I hope is going to work, but I never really saw it actually work.
Yeah, so doing like a demo. Yeah, so just given the constraints and the time, it's really hard to fit that all in there. And so there's like the Me View on your mobile app, and there's a comparison of your desktop and mobile application. The reason why we decided to take the approach with our presentation of giving you this backstory is to set the ground and to relate. If you go look a lot of the notable tech companies that do presentations, they typically just don't jump right into the product. They typically lay the map of the problems they're solving. And that's what I wanted to do, and I personally don't see that changing anytime soon, because a lot of the times individuals don't realize the very problems they're solving or what your solution is going to solve unless you come out and just tell them. And I do agree, it's probably best to just jump out and start talking about the product and showing it, but I like to tell the story.
So actually, I'm sorry, I'm just going to piggyback that really
Yeah.
quick. They have a video on their website.
Yep.
It's actually very well done.
Thank you.
And honestly, if you would have stood up here, introduced yourself, and then shown that video, it probably would have gone over a little bit better because it shows how the application works in real life.
That is true.
Right? And that's, I think, probably what you were missing.
Yeah, go to whiteboard.co. Yeah, and about the domain, Whiteboard is a very common name, but the fact that we got whiteboard.co, and you go look a lot of competitors and stuff out there, it's like they have to add more words to their domain, and it doesn't seem to be hurting them at all. I mean, they're raking in the cash, so we're pretty excited and passionate at the fact that we have whiteboard.co. We'll get the M. We'll get the M, though.
Question in the back.
My question is for those folks here that have an idea. You've been able to successfully launch a product by self-funding. Can you talk a little bit about that decision? I know a lot of startups feel, I can't make my thing happen unless somebody else sees my vision and gives me their dollars to make it happen. So can you talk a little bit about that?
So this is my third venture. I graduated from college in May of '08, and it was at the height of the recession, and I wanted to become an investment banker on Wall Street. So I was real big into trading derivatives in college, and I took the money that I traded on the market and I invested in my first startup called AppTank, which is an app development marketplace that connects individuals and organizations with app developers. And I was blessed to have a lot of success from that. I was a Forbes 30 under 30 in their inaugural class for mobile and social technologies. The next venture I had was called Divi, which was a photo aggregation app. I sold that off and it got acquired a year after I developed it. So all I've done over the years is just, I've doubled down my bets. And I keep reinvesting. I live a real lean, frugal life because I'm trying to get somewhere and accomplish something. And I'm a real big risk taker. My friends and family think I'm crazy, but it's what I'm passionate about. So it's just, if you believe in yourself, just take the risk and do it and find a way to get it done. If you have a will, there's a way. And the question is how bad do you want it? And what are you willing to do to get it?
Got a question here on your left.
I'd like to, first of all, ratify your method and maybe offer a little bit of a different perspective to the comment that was made earlier, and there will be a question and it won't be too long before we get to it. You just described you're on your third turn. I've spent the last weekend at a startup weekend for education products and initiatives, and one of the things that was absolutely clear coming out of that is that space, the education performance improvement in the classroom, is full of tools. And in many, many cases, the tools haven't been validated by users at the conceptual level. And what I see and what I hear you say is, I can't really create that minimum viable product cost structure until I have more sense that people really see this as an improvement, because there is a lot of people playing. So am I reflecting kind of what I think I'm hearing? Because I think this notion of how do we do validation, how do we do quick startup in a return on objective domain or a return on engagement, like in the civic sector, is one frontier of all this conversation.
So you're alluding to, the basis of getting a minimal viable product out there and getting kind of affirmation and validation that what you have is worthwhile? So yeah, our objective with Whiteboard and the reason and how we determine our MVP is that we just want to get the foundation out there with some of our differentiating factors like the Me View and just overall user interface, and the fact that literally, if you notice that this view is identical to the second column in the web app, it's literally one for one. So these are some of the things and theories that we wanted to test and get out there. So we got it out there as fast as we could. With it being a real competitive market, we had to make sure we had certain features. But I think this is the right way to go. In terms of monetization and like getting a price point, we have a price point in our head that's real competitive in terms of what our competitors are offering, but when we flip that switch, and this is kind of going on a little tangent, but when we decide to flip that switch and where we think it's of value is when we have some metrics that we want to base, our growth week over week. We have a certain percentage we want to grow, certain number of active users. And because, technology, it's all about, I call it ARG, it's funny, awareness, retention, and growth. And those are the 3 factors we're focused on. And once we see that we are providing enough value in everyone's day in our user space, that's when we'll flip the switch.
So one final question for you today. Our final question is, what can we do as a community to help you?
Okay, it's a 3-part thing. So if you guys could, and you're interested, go to whiteboard.co and sign up for a limited preview. So right now we're releasing invites in batches just to ensure the stability and overall experience for people we're onboarding. So we're about a day or 2. If you sign up today, we're about a day out from when we get invites out. Sign up. I'd love to hear your feedback, suggestions, as raw as it gets, as real as it gets, because that's the only way we're going to be successful. Tell people about it. Share it on your social media.
Thank you so much for coming out and presenting today. I would say one more thing. Let us know when you get the M. All right, everyone, we want to thank you for coming out to 1 Million Cups today. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place.